Good morning from Vietnam, everybody. I'm Joshua from Vietnam, and I'm here with Sash. And today we're going to be talking to you about the Overton window and what's changed. So go ahead and fill your cup with whatever bitter brew you're drinking, and let's get started. How you doing today, Sash?
I'm doing amazing. What about you? What about everyone out there?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been actually an oddly calm week considering we're now 207 hours and 24 minutes until yours and my live stream starts at Bollywood, where we're going to be live broadcasting the results of the election.
Yeah, it's so weird. This week has been so calm. It's like they had a splash with the whole Biden story last week with his son, but people have seemingly not cared. It's become basically normalized, which comes into our topic today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why we're looking at the Overton window because we have seen exactly what you just said. Like nobody even seems to be taking notice. So now I wonder if the powers that be thought that this Biden story was going to catch everyone by storm. I know it was just kind of breaking as we were doing our stream last week. I had actually barely even heard of it when you brought it up, and it seems you correctly predicted this was going to be the big story, but daggone, like it almost seems that the beer bug and the beer virus has superseded that, and like that's not even new news. Everybody's just getting scared again for a reason I can't even think of. Have you been seeing news about the beer virus as well?
Um, they're trying to start the second wave, it seems.
Yeah, whatever that means. I actually read on a Vietnamese news site, but it was a Vietnamese news site in English, so they're not the most trustworthy. But I read that there is now a 3 million dong fine in Ho Chi Minh City if you're not wearing your mask in public. But I walked by a few cops the other day with no mask on, and they didn't seem to give me any notice. They just kind of looked at me and nodded their head, didn't say a thing. Have you heard anything about that? Of the cops or anyone said anything to you about masks in the past week?
No, nothing like that. I've been going out without my mask. The only time I wear a mask is when I'm driving my bike to go to Long An, the next province over to teach because it's very dusty, so I need a mask for that.
So were you wearing a
But
mask for that before this whole
yeah.
pandemic started? Okay,
Yeah, it's because of the fucking sand. It gets in your face and in
right.
your mouth.
Even in the city here, if you go back a year and a half ago, you'd find that about 80% of women and maybe 30 or 40% of males are wearing masks every time they get on a motorbike. And that's for like real reasons, like trying to stop the exhaust from buses that come into your face. And especially on some of the dustier and dirty roads I've been down, having the mask is pretty helpful. I used to work in an island called Kunza, and I would wear the mask there on the dirt roads because there'd just be so much kicked up that the mask would be worth it. What's your feeling in Saigon and about here? Do you think we're at pre-corona levels of mask wearing, or do you think we're still a little bit elevated?
From noticing the difference from last year to this year, it seems the same.
Oh, okay. I noticed that in the stores, there's definitely a lot more. Not mandated in most stores. There's Latte Mart, which I forever hate with a passion because how rude that woman was to me. I was even planning on putting on a mask, but she was so rude, I just left anyway. Um, I know 2 weeks
At the
ago.
big malls, they still make you wear a mask.
Yeah, I believe that. I try to avoid those. I've got a little small co-op by me that's like only like two thirds of a co-op, maybe even a little bit less. And they stopped making me wear a mask months ago, but they also know me. It's so small there that every employee there knows me. One new security guard asked me the other
Uh,
day in Vietnamese, or sorry, in English, where my mask was, and I responded in Vietnamese saying I don't have one and walked in. And then the older guy, the security guard I knew, just laughed at him and, and walked away. So overall, it's been
Yeah.
pretty good for me. I think I can pretty much do everything without the mask. I know the Americans are, not that we're not American, but we're not in America. I know the people living in America are getting big complaints about that. And with the election coming up, it's like all the pressure's on this. Like we saw, did you watch the debate between Biden and Trump?
I watched the bits and pieces, but the general consensus was that it was a tie.
The general consensus was that it was a tie. Well, I think Biden only had 1 point, and he was driving home those 200,000 dead, 200,000 dead, 200,000 dead. I know how quickly channels get flagged when you talk about the beer virus, so I haven't really gone into what bull crap that really is. But the reality is in 2020, more Americans are not dying than they do on average. Maybe a little bit more than 2019, but much less than 2017, which was a bad flu season, to be fair. And then also way less than 2011, I think. Is that when we had the H1N1 pandemic? Was that 2011?
That was 2009.
2009. Oh, it was right when Obama got in. Okay. I was thinking it was right before he got
I
reelected.
remember it was the story of the swine flu came out in October of 2009,
All right. Um,
and I actually remember getting the swine flu shot.
oh, you got the swine flu shot. Interesting. So
Yeah.
what about now? If the COVID shot comes out, are you gonna partake?
Um, I think yeah.
You think so? All right. You're not up Bobby Kennedy's
Yeah.
alley with the stay away from vaccines, huh?
No, no, I'm pretty like I was vaccinated as a child and it didn't fuck me up, so
Yeah, I was
who knows.
vaccinated as a child too, and thankfully it didn't fuck me up either. But there's one too many stories out there to make me comfortable, and with some of the stuff coming out with the past flu vaccines, it's certainly concerning, especially how this one's rushed. I think I'm going to do my damnedest to stay away from it. Now, we're in
No,
Vietnam, so go
well,
ahead.
to be fair, they rushed the swine flu vaccine
They,
way further than they did with the COVID vaccine.
you're saying they rushed the swine flu vaccine faster than they're doing right now with the
Yeah,
COVID one?
yeah,
Interesting.
yes.
Have you ever done a real deep dive or research of why some people are so staunchly anti-vax? Have you ever listened to like Bobby Kennedy is the milk
Yes, I
toast of
have.
anti-vaxxers, but he did a debate with Alan Dershowitz maybe 3 or 4 months ago, specifically about the constitutional legality of forcing people to take vaccines. And so he did it from a very statistical analysis point of
Yeah.
view. I'm not the biggest Bobby Kennedy fan, but he definitely did share some of the problems with letting these vaccine companies that have so much to gain also be responsible for essentially writing the legislature of how to test these vaccines. Did you watch
That's
that debate?
fair.
Oh, okay.
No, no, I did not.
That's an interesting one. Maybe if the vaccine becomes a reality, you and I can do an EFAP or an every frame of pause and kind of watch that and talk about it. That's that'd be pretty interesting. I haven't done super deep dives on it, but I've been really taking care of my immune system, especially these past few months. So I've got all the reason in the world not to want to take it. Um, I've been upping my raw greens and then upping my vegetables and mushroom content, decreasing my sugar. And as you know, I'm in the midst of sober October, so no alcohol, no green, and no tobacco for me. I've been waking up early, working out most days, so I've been trying to take care of my body as much as I can lately. What about you? How you been feeling?
I've been feeling pretty good actually.
Excellent. Most excellent. I'm
Well,
liking your hair or lack thereof.
thanks.
So I want to get into a little bit and talk about what the Overton window is. I've got something prepared. I did a little bit of reading about John Overton, the guy who first theorized about this. Why don't you give your you were just about to give it to me when we were offline, but tell me your impression of it and what you can spit off the top of your head of what the Overton window is.
Basically, the Overton window is basically, say you're on a left or right spectrum. It's basically what's acceptable on the bounds of each spectrum. So, say I'm a leftist, right? So I take the leftist spectrum. Now there's spectrums to it as well. I mean, okay, but like on the left, like there's like the left, and then there's like the right wing left, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Actually, I've got a better graph here. I think to show what you're talking. One second, keep talking.
Yeah, basically the way I interpret it is what's acceptable within the bounds of a spectrum.
What is acceptable? So can you give a little more definition on acceptable? What do you mean by acceptable?
So I'm a leftist, right? I believe in, well, not really, just
Right, right. In
in
your
a
hypothetical, I
hypothetical
understand.
sense. Yeah. I believe in socialized medicine. I believe in free college. That's all fine. But the minute I tell you that I want to overthrow the US government, that's not acceptable.
That's that's too much. So yeah, you've got that. You've got that pretty much right in lockstep. Let's go in and take a look at here. I was wrong. I said it was John Overton. I apologize. It's Joe Overton, and he is the
Joseph.
senior
Okay.
vice president of the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. So he's a political scientist, even though his degree's in engineering, and he's got a doctorate in law. Actually, though I don't think he's ever passed the bar. Uh, and he came up with this theory, which is right along what you're saying. Only he defined it a bit clearer than you did. He called it the the. Excuse me, let me think. He called it the way to make policy. Right? What's acceptable policy wise? So everything with inside the Overton window means it's getting closer to becoming law. And since he's a lobbyist, his only real goal is to make what he wants law. Make
What
sense?
does he lobby for? Like, who does he lobby for?
Mackinac Center seems to be a really milk. I've used that phrase too much tonight, but they just seem to be a really generic liberal firm right now. So they haven't gone crazy leftist with the rest of the Democratic Party, but they're very pro freedom. They're like what the libertarians are trying to be, except the Libertarian Party is so unbelievably corrupted. You know.
And it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
You mean the ideals, or do you mean the party, like the organization?
The party, yes, and looking back, I think in terms of governing a society, libertarianism is very unpractical.
How is it impractical? I mean, I would think if I was living in an ideal world, I'd probably call myself a libertarian. The idea of the libertarian is that the government's not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do, with
But
exception of you hurting other people's rights.
that's the thing with government, though. It's inherently not libertarian.
No, it's not, which is why. Yeah, okay. So it's like it's an oxymoron. You're saying a
Yeah,
libertarian
yeah,
government. Okay. So you're saying real
yeah,
libertarians would never want to be in the government anyway. It's like a Ron Swanson situation where he spends
yeah,
his whole
exactly.
life trying to destroy his branch, but since he does it like that, he's got the most successful department in all of the government. So I understand. I understand your point there. Um, and probably agree with most of it. The only thing Oh, so if you go to the Mackinaw's website, they give this as their example, right? They're talking specifically about about education policy, and I think it's a really poor example because at the top here of the most extreme, like, and on their website, you can move the slider, right? You're learning. They say that no government policy on school attendance, meaning you don't have to go to school. I can't remember if truancy laws are federal or state in the United States. Does the federal government say that children have to go to
Um,
school, or does just every state say that independently?
um, I'm not entirely sure. It depends. Like if it's like vapid truancy where they're doing it so much, the Fed might get involved, like especially with like CPS and shit. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's the state that deals with it first. So yeah.
Okay. I think it's the state as well. I know that my the truancy officer at my high school was a Frederick County. Was
Okay.
a Frederick County police officer, though. That doesn't exactly mean that it's just up to the county to decide. It's not quite so simple. And but there also, I know that there was a homeschooling regulation inside Maryland, which is where I grew up because I was homeschooled for a time. And there's tons of private school regulation. I think just about everywhere. Um, and so they see on the other end here that all students must run state-run schools, or what they're saying is the most extreme one. I don't really understand how they list all these. It doesn't make sense to me how students may choose any public school in any district is like a part of their policy. And it doesn't make sense to me how online schools are right in the middle. But they probably put this up long before the beer bug hit us, so now online schools are commonplace. I heard the moderator at the Biden Trump debate last night or a couple nights ago say that that Boston has gone completely to online schooling till the end of the year. Did you hear that?
I did not know.
Absolutely insane. My little brothers have another week of Zoom school because they're not really sure, but the rumor is that there was an infected member of the student body or of the staff at their school because all schools in the city
A
didn't shut
what?
down, but theirs did. What's that?
Okay. Sorry, what were you saying? My internet's a little bit unstable.
Yeah, I can tell we lose you for a bit, a little time. Let me pause the screen sharing, except when I switch slides so that you're there. So this is what you laid out for us in your introduction. You said that the Overton window was between the left and the right, but it could also be like between liberal and authoritarian, or like even hedonist and Puritan. If you think about when America first got set up, it was very much around these rigid, I don't even want to say Christian, more like churchian laws and rules, right? And
Yeah.
hedonist just being everybody gets to do whatever they will, right? Like just, well, my feelings right now are all that matter. And we've definitely seen the Overton window throughout American history go back and forth there. So the Overton window is what's acceptable to policy, like that graphic showed before, and they move, and there's a lot of different methods for them to move. Then you brought up left and right, and it was interesting in your example where you called yourself a leftist because in political sciences, Americans kind of have this
No, I'm
backwards.
not. I'm not though.
Oh, I know. I know you are not actually, but you said you were in your hypothetical. Um,
Yeah.
I think you're a part of the enlightened centrist group, aren't you, Sash?
I wouldn't say that. I'm just a centrist.
Oh, I know. The enlightened centrist is the derogatory term for the centrist because there's nothing else to call them, right? Like you guys are the ones that are too wishy-washy to take a stand. Um, I was pretty right wing, but I'm becoming more leftist in a true sense of the word. And we'll talk about what that means in just a second. So liberal and conservative are how we define our wings in the U.S., which makes zero sense because if liberty is the status quo in America, then conservatives would be pro liberty. And if it's not, mean, conservatives and liberals aren't opposites like left and
Uh,
right are.
I
You know what I mean?
disagree with that. Disagree with that.
You're breaking up. You said you're disagreeing with something, but I didn't hear
Um,
exactly what.
I said that conservative. Fuck.
Let me
Like
pause my
goddamn
screen share.
internet, man.
Yeah, let me
Fuck.
pause my screen share, see if that helps. Go, fire again.
All right, so you said something about the lines of conservatives are supposed to be the ones who stand up for freedom, right?
No, I said if America is a free society, like right now, I would say
If
we're pretty free. Yeah, because conservatives are about keeping the status quo. They're about protecting what is. They're about conserving essentially. So my point there was that if America is a free place, then conservatives should be pro freedom. If America was already an authoritarian place, then the conservatives would be pro authoritarianism.
okay, okay, that's a fair point. All right, all right, all right.
But I want to go here now. Let me resume the share so you can see. So, in the reality of political science, the spectrum actually isn't about liberals on the left. It's revolutionaries on the left. So the way that a political spectrum could go, the Democrats just lie about their position, is the left wing means you are fighting against the status quo, and the wing means that you're pro status quo. So if you want America to keep going exactly as it is today, if you want Joe Biden to come in, I'm kind of say that you're a conservative in this time. Like Trump did not run on a cabinet of saying that he was going to keep everything the same. He ran on a cabinet of saying he was going to change things. And when you look at the Q-tards, whether they be right or wrong, they are talking about a revolution nearly. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, yes.
And
Their rhetoric is starting to get really bad.
the rhetoric has been bad for a while, and I think that's because they don't really have any new information, right? Like they're still going off of the same uh, WikiLeaks that were leaked 4 years ago. Like they've got nothing new and nothing fresh. I mean, except this Hunter Biden stuff, but Q didn't have anything to do with that. It seems like Hunter Biden gave his laptop up out of his own accord.
Yes, I think he did that on purpose.
All right, you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Because there's no way. Okay, there's no way someone is going to be stupid enough to go and give their laptop to a repair shop, then stiff them on the bill, knowing what's in that laptop.
All right, I understand your point, and I think it's very valid. But I've actually heard some addendums to this story, and disclaimer: I'm not totally sure what's true right now. But as I've heard it last, Hunter Biden stumbled into this Mac repair shop completely drunk and left it, and then didn't know where he left his laptop. So I don't know if this is true, but this is the last that I've heard. So I was putting it as like some tourist is drinking on Boy VN. He's totally wasted. He drops his Mac. The screen shatters. He opens it. He's like, I can't do anything. He wanders into the first place with a sign and a light that has an apple on it, right? Hands over his laptop, goes home, goes to bed, wakes up, and has just had no memory where it is. That is plausible. You got to admit.
That is plausible, but what if that's the cover he used?
Right. So what are you hypothesizing there? Are you saying the man flipped?
I think so, yeah.
I
Some of
see.
the revenge porn that was on his laptop got leaked, and like nobody cares, dude. Maybe he flipped. Maybe he saved his own ass.
Um, you think that he's because everything that's going on with his dad specifically right now?
Probably. I mean, his father is the one who set him up for these business deals, basically,
True.
which Joe got 10% back.
Right.
And then you had this story that came out not actually no, just 2 days ago. He was in a position where he had, by law, he had to register as a foreign agent, and he didn't do that.
Who had to
So
register as a
yeah,
foreign agent? Biden.
yeah,
Sorry,
Biden's son.
Hunter.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, yeah.
okay, but what about like that's what they arrested Flynn for, right?
Um, no, I think they arrested him on a technicality. It was like
Yeah, he didn't
it was
register
some
as a foreign lobbyist, only a local one.
yeah.
And now, one of the big things to his credit is his lawyer literally told him, "You don't need to register as a foreign one. This is fine." Which
Okay,
that's a huge difference. Like one, fire your lawyer, but two, it's hard to give a man that much crap when you're talking about how complicated these laws are, and he followed his lawyer's advice. You know what I mean?
exactly, exactly.
So I see your point there. So let's go into what we were talking about with the Overton windows again. Um, Let me show you where I'm at. So Overton windows, like obviously they can shift, they can grow, they can move. There you go. Your screen should be up to date now. Like in the hedonist to
Yep.
Puritan Overton window, it's kind of gotten a lot bigger. Like we let the Amish live in peace, and we even let the Amish kind of regulate themselves to an extent. And there are places in the
Yes, we
United
do.
States, as scary as it is, that are talking about governing by Sharia law, which I would say Sharia law is on the Puritan end of that, right?
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Even though it happens in the United Kingdom and it happens in France, you don't think America's susceptible to it?
Honestly, no.
Okay. Why? What do you think we have protecting us that UK and France doesn't?
It's like Canada, man. Okay, think about it like this. Places like the UK and France, they have a very low population. I mean, no, they have a very high population density in such small countries, right? So
Okay.
these people they flock together. Now, now they also do the same within the United States, but considering the size of it, it's much easier to regulate them.
Well, what if I mean, think about how few people are in Alaska, right? It's only like
That and we
three.
have
Go ahead.
okay. Also, think of it like this. We also have really good propaganda,
We have the best propaganda. I mean, look at where we are in Vietnam. We walk
and
out and everyone wants to be
and
American.
some,
All right, I'm generalizing, but 70 to
yeah,
80%.
yeah.
Some of the Zoomers are waking up to it. The Zoomers are based, but the millennials, even the millennial Vietnamese, like they wear American flags on their scooters. They have helmets with American flags. They all have this concept. They listen to American rap music. Like the Zoomers are pretty tied up into the K-pop and the J-pop, but the millennials dig that American stuff, you know.
Like the U.S.'s biggest export is the propaganda, man.
Yeah, I would agree. You don't need to hold your mic to your face. We can hear you pretty well. You can just let it hang.
All right,
But when you do that, I gotta mess with your volumes. But
all
we're
right, all
we're
right,
good
all
now.
right, all
Um,
right, all right, all right.
so where these are kind of the Overton windows that I drew on just thinking about how America is at right now. So I'm calling the left and the right here. I'm calling it the DNC and the GOP is what I meant by that. That I should have labeled it that. That's a dishonest labeling. But I see our liberal to authoritarian Overton window very small, and I see it moving in the direction of authoritarian like crazy. Would you agree with me there?
Um, in what capacity?
Well, listening. Clearly, I'm listening to these questions that are being asked of Donald Trump about the beer bug and what he could have done different. And it seems to me almost like there was
Yeah,
this expectation for the president to come in and mandate all these state shutdowns and to mandate masks being worn, something like that. The United States president instituting a national policy about how businesses should behave and what I should wear on my face. I, in,
that
in,
is true. That is,
in
yeah.
Vietnam,
But he didn't do it though.
he didn't. He didn't. But in Vietnam, if Hanoi sends out an order that we have to wear a mask, end of story, we have to wear a mask. Like this is a unicameral socialist republic that's run by a centralized government, right? Like Bang Wing has great authority and Ung Fuk has even more, right? So if they make these decisions, there's not much that we can do. But in America, like it shouldn't even be conceivable to the average citizen that a president could determine what you need to wear.
That is true.
And where else do we see authoritarian? Oh well,
It
I mean,
seems like
go ahead.
so basically, authoritarianism has different mechanisms to it. Like you can't just generalize it.
I kind of agree and kind of disagree. So keep elaborating, and I can see if I agree with your point or not.
So there's a military authoritarianism. There's there's media authoritarianism. There's banking tyranny, and sure, you can say they all work together, but some have more power than the others. Like I personally think the biggest tyrannical problem that we have in the United States is a declaration of martial law. If that ever happens in our lifetimes,
Um, I mean, but then aren't you talking about the method of how someone might seize control? And that would be like totalitarianism. So authoritarianism and totalitarianism get conflated, but they're not exactly the same. Authoritarianism is whether the government can regulate specific aspects of your life, and then totalitarianism would be there's no way to defy that. So yeah, if the
there's
military
no way. Okay, okay, okay. Fair point.
the laws like look what happened. I wish I had this article queued, but there was an Italian restaurant in Pennsylvania that just when the governor said, "Hey, you guys got to shut down. The beer bug is here," they just said "Nabra," and they kept open the whole entire time, and they were sued to ever-loving Bolivian, and they were fined and all that, and they just won their first court case where the governor had zero potential authority to make them shut down. They won the case in Pennsylvania of all places, which is pretty great news. But wouldn't you like? I get your point that we're at dictatorship levels if the army shows up and starts making these people shut down, but there still is the desire. Like, go on Reddit, go on Twitter, where everyone's like, well, those Karens who don't wear the mask, they should just be put in jail. And there was even the guy who was going around literally, literally smacking people who didn't wear the mask or have their mask on right. And everyone on the YouTube comments was just cheering him on. Like, that guy, that guy would have gotten so unbelievably hurt for me if he did that.
So on the military thing, remember the George Floyd riots,
Yes.
like people supported the federal police. Now, well, what if they take it? Well, what if they take it one step further and start deploying the fucking U.S. military? I mean, people already supported the federal police at a massive scale and shutting down these riots.
Right.
So what about, a military?
So there's two things to say there. One, it's a direct violation of um, it's a direct violation of the Constitution to deploy the military on U.S. soil. It's not a violation for anything that's going on with.
But do they care about the U.S. Constitution, though? I mean, let's be real here. The people that run it don't care about the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, but I mean, I get your point, and I would agree with you completely. The people who run it don't care about the U.S. Constitution. Um, Sorry, I meant to send that to myself, not to you. The people who run it don't care about the U.S. Constitution, but there's one thing to think about, and that would be the
Okay.
generals, right? The way that our army is built up is the president doesn't command soldiers, right? The president commands the Pentagon commands the generals commands the colonels commands the majors commands the captains commands the lieutenants command the sergeants, and the NCOs command the soldiers. So that's something that's a big point. Like, you need to make all those people ready to march, and the generals, I hope, care about the Constitution. At least they know it. So it's not that
Fair,
cut and
fair.
dry. It's not as simple as
But
just making the men march. Go ahead.
but then there's also the cultural tyranny. I mean, authoritarianism.
So I want to be clear. Are you talking about the method of control, or are you talking about control over culture?
I'm talking about both. Like the best way to fucking control a society is by controlling its culture. But that's just my take on it.
I would agree, but that's more manipulative, right? That's making the sheep go the way you want, as opposed to beating them with a stick until they're submissive.
I mean, but I don't see that necessarily occurring though. Like for me, it's all subliminal.
You don't see that occur. Yeah. Um. I mean, you're right,
Okay,
but we're talking about
back
an
to the
Overton window
military
shift,
point.
right? So the policy hasn't been made, but we're talking about an Overton window shift. So let's stay back to our point, because changing the
Okay,
Constitution is
right.
is very, very difficult. So it's not something easy that, even if the window has shifted into it, it's not easy to do. Making a federal law about masks that might take 4 years until the Supreme Court sees it is much easier. You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true.
So
That is true.
I've got this cued here. Um, so this is the guy. He wins in court. Let's see if I can find the name of his restaurant to make sure everyone knows. If you're in Pennsylvania, in Palmyra, ooh, that's dark. That's named after a place in the Middle East where one of the last
Palmyra,
remaining temples of Baal lived or survived.
Palmyra, Palmyra.
That might be the proper way to pronounce it. I said Palmyra, but yeah, Palmyra is probably more correct. Palmyra, Pennsylvania, and he refused to pay 10,000 in his coronavirus fines. Um, Mike Magnano, owner of Taste of Italy, is an absolute legend, and he just didn't shut down. So they took it to court, and he won. That's pretty exciting to see, because the laws still are not authoritarian, but those questions, man, those questions bothered me. And what about how many people are now on no-fly lists? Just because one guy was wearing a Trump mask and he took it off to eat supposedly, and then he got kicked
And then
off
they
the
kicked him
flight.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you saw that one, right? Now he's on the no-fly list.
that's that's too much.
Yeah, it's insane. So that's what I mean by the Overton window is starting to go, but these people are being cheered on by millennials, right? Like they're like, "That's right, you got to save us from the Karens. The Karens are gonna kill us." It's absolute insanity.
Yeah.
So it bothers me, that's for sure. And then, sorry, just queuing up my laptop to show us what's next. This has got to be my favorite article of the week. You and I talked a little bit about this one.
Oh God. Oh
the,
God.
the man wearing the Burger King crown yells N-word on the JetBlue flight. He's also now on the JetBlue no-fly list, not the whole country.
That's fair. That one's fair.
All right, but hold on. So what if the man's telling the truth? Let me play some devil's advocate for this guy, despite the fact that I really don't want to put my eggs in the basket of a man who has a face tattoo of what looks like a spade.
And a fucking Burger King crown.
Yeah, not who I really want to die on a hill defending, but so his story is, because I've watched the unedited clips on Twitter from King Mecca's Twitter. If you want to go see him, I can't really play him here because I'll get pulled from YouTube if I play a video with that many N-words in it, just like that. So
Yeah.
we can play the New York Post one because the N-words are edited. But I don't have a problem with anyone who says any word. I don't fear words. Voldemort isn't a real person. But I do know that my YouTube channel will be gone, even with my measly 11 subscribers. So he says that the flight attendant kneed him in the stomach when he was trying to get to his seat because there was another woman in the seat who didn't want to leave. And so that's what he says over and over and over. And then one woman who's recording says, well, she needs you because you deserved it. And so now we've got a bit of a problem. I'm not okay with physical violence and retaliation for even what people would label as hate speech. Like, nah, brah. Like, it's not the same level. If he started beating on a passenger, anyone and everyone would have the right to physically altercate this man, is politically correct as I can say. But you don't get to cause physical violence because someone said a word that makes your feces hurt. You just don't. Sorry, I meant to have it at this one.
That's fair.
You need to get a green screen, bro, so when I go to the full screen share, you can be in there too. Go ahead. Okay. What were you going to say?
No, it's the Wi-Fi's pitching out again.
Oh, I see. Well then, let me keep talking to this so that you guys can hear me. I'm about to pull up the video, and then we've only got 13 minutes left. We should have our sound equipment guys for next week, where actually Sash and I can do this from the same location. Right now,
that's gonna be much more convenient.
Yeah, it's gonna be higher quality. We're learning. It's not like we have got too many viewers, but now that we have 3 videos, my plan is for us to start uploading this onto podcast directories. So that'll just be sound only, and they won't have our neat little visuals. But I will try to get us onto some podcast directories soon. So let's give this a pretty funny listen.
I can't hear it.
All right, I think I just missed a volume knob. Let me try it now.
Where's my seat?
Can you stand up?
Where is 25A? Where is 25A? Why did she just knee me in the stomach? Excuse me, I'm part West African. I can say her anytime I want. Bye.
I'm part West African. What part?
You're being
Thank you. Somebody get
So my first question, because I saw it all, I even saw him get escorted off by the cops. My first question was, where is he where nearly every passenger is black, every flight attendant is black, and both of the cops were black? I was like, that's a little interesting, especially with his choice of words. Guess where this man is while he's waiting on the tarmac?
Where?
Kingston, Jamaica.
He's in the. Oh fuck. Oh,
He's
this is in Kingston, Jamaica.
he's in Jamaica on a flight about to go to New York, and like now he can't go home. He missed his flight. Like I've got a real problem with whoever kneed him in the stomach. A real problem with that. That's not okay. I don't care what the man said. It's not okay. But dude, he's acting like a 2-year-old who had his ice cream taken away. Sometimes you need a little bit of self-discipline. All right, let's finish it up.
I want to lie.
African.
I'm part West African. I can do
Suit.
it right
I want a
What?
fucking lawsuit right now, mother.
Lawsuit.
Oh my God!
Kick that bitch off the plane!
Sir, please you need to stop. There are children. Please stop.
Stop!
I
Hey,
think it is
that's
a
not
spade.
necessary.
He has a spade tattooed on his face. Like as crazy as that is.
Fucking God damn it! I'm part West African.
It's insanity. But definitely by far that is my favorite.
I'm
my
part
favorite
West
headline.
African.
Yeah, I'm part West African. It definitely is by far my favorite headline of 2020. Man wearing Burger King crown yells N-word on JetBlue flight. Like you
Hey,
can't
show. Hey,
say-
hey,
go
put
ahead.
up that if you can type on YouTube Peter Griffin, King of the Black People.
All right, well then you got to talk. I'll go ahead and find it, but say something to our
Oh,
audience so
fuck.
time doesn't go dead.
Oh fuck! Like that fucking thing we just saw is a perfect summary of the way 2020 is going. Fuck. It's that was kind of funny. You can't lie. That was pretty hilarious. I'm part West African.
I mean, it's hilarious, and the woman who tweeted it, she irritates me. I'm not gonna lie. The woman who tweeted it, like you saw the tweet at the end where she's like, "You guys have no idea how scary this was," but
That wasn't that scary. It
well,
was just
she's also
fucking.
egging him on. She's like,
Yeah.
she kicked you because you deserved it, bitch. And I'm like, all right, that's also funny too. She's also being funny. And I think she's honestly handling a wild situation pretty well by saying something like that. But damn, right? Like, don't go on and
Yeah.
try to get sympathy points.
Stay with us as the countdown to doomsday continues with just 6 more hours to go.
The only thing that's nice about this is even though it's a Tuesday, it feels kind of like it's a Friday. Peter, where are you going?
Last day on Earth, last chance to do this. I'm going into the inner city and I'm going to yell the N-word. They respected me for saying it.
Stay with us as the count.
Oh, man, that's an old one. Yeah, I guess he thought he was going to get some kind of prize. He's from West Africa. Truly, truly hilarious.
West Africa. Fuck. That one got me. That one got me. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm part West African.
So,
What a motherfucker.
here, going back to serious things and going back to the Overton window, like, we see violence for hate speech now becoming acceptable. Like, that's the reality of it. If someone says the N-word, you're now allowed to beat them within an inch of their life, maybe even kill them. We're even seeing where it's okay to beat people up because they won't raise their fist in support of Black Lives Matter. And these people are being justified, and it's insanity. We've really, I agree, it's funny. Like, it's one of the best headlines of 2020. Man in Burger King hat yells N-word on JetBlue flight. I was cracking up laughing before I ever even clicked on the link. Like, but we are becoming stupid violent in America,
That is true.
and it's not going to end well. Go ahead.
I think the right is going to start getting violent, man.
Well, I would say that the right actually originally had a tendency to be more violent, but in the
That is
past,
true, but they've calmed down. Like they've calmed down, but
well,
now with this
since the Tea Party, I feel like
QAnon,
everyone has had their eyes on the right. So I feel like that the right had to calm down out of survival, and everybody just
that is true.
dismisses the left violence. So I feel like it's been breeding a more violent left at the moment. But you're right, especially with the QAnon movements. Like, what's going to happen to all these Q-tards when they realize Q is fake?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely fake. It's more like full disclosure, but nothing's actually going to
Do you think
like
that?
they're not gonna get yeah,
Yeah,
like they're not going to get killed or nothing like that.
do you think that
Like
hundreds of
like you're
politicians are going to be let out in handcuffs and are going to go to jail for child abuse?
no, fuck no,
But that's what all the
no,
Q-tards are waiting for.
fuck no, man.
That's what they're all waiting for.
Exactly. So there
I mean,
has to be like a false flag to like, you know,
oh,
calm
to
these.
satisfy them. Interesting. Don't get me wrong. I agree that 99% of U.S. politicians are, in fact, pedophiles. I don't think there are many Congress members that are not
Holy
pedophiles.
shit, dude! The Wi-Fi's bad. Fuck.
Yeah, I know. We've just got...
I can't hear you. Yeah.
All right, let me hold on. I should stop this screen share to at least make it a little bit better.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, I bet it is. And
Okay, so
you can turn off your video. And
we were
I can
talking about.
I can put a picture up of you if need be.
No, it's fine. This one is fine, but
Okay.
like we were going back, so you were asking me, do I think that these people are going to get caught and
Right.
mass arrested? No, no way.
Right.
But
so
I do think
Go ahead.
I think this is more of a full disclosure thing, where they're trying to shift the window and make people think that this is yeah, if you're rich and powerful, this is the norm, and just make people live with that.
That's a really really dark thought, and
It is a dark thought, but
I know you were saying before that you think this Hunter Biden and Joe Biden thing is a proof of that. So I'm gonna set you up, and then we can finish on that point. So, like the things that have just been leaked are one about poor little Natalie Biden, who is one of Joe's granddaughters, Hunter's niece. She's the daughter of Beau Biden, who's the guy who died in war. Yeah.
No, he didn't die in war. He had a brain tumor.
Okay, Joe Biden said something that made me think he died in war, but that makes more sense. You can't really trust Joe Biden. So his daughter, when she was 14 or 15, there are now pictures, and I don't want to go into detail. This stuff breaks my heart thinking about that young girl. But pictures that suggest a inappropriate relationship between Hunter, who was at that time having a relationship with Beau's ex-wife and apparently Beau's daughter, 14-year-old daughter, at the same time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that got leaked 3 or 4 days ago on the laptop. And then there's another one about Joe himself and Biden, who articulated, I don't remember this girl's name, but I think that's all right if I don't say it, but she articulated in one of her diaries. Why were her diaries on Hunter's laptop? But anyway, she articulated in one of her diaries inappropriate showers she was made to take with Joe.
Oh God.
Yeah, like unbelievable. So we see this absolutely disgusting thing, and the money we already knew about, right? Like if you didn't know Joe Biden was on the take since 2012, you haven't been paying attention. So
That is
go
true.
go ahead and the major difference right now, guys. Remember last week we did this whole exploration where we were looking at every day a Drudge article from a year before, and we saw Trump eeping up, eeping up, eeping up. We saw Drudge pretty much predict his victory. We really did. But this time we're not seeing that. We're seeing every news article I can find, except Trump himself, saying hoorah, 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 Biden's going to win it. So tell us, Sash, your theory right now. What's the purpose of this laptop? What's the purpose of QAnon? Why is it that nobody's even blinking an eye during this stuff?
Because it's a shift in the window.
Elaborate
Like
more. Go ahead.
there's this thing called shock of value. It's like you go to a car dealership and you buy a car. Now the first price is like 35,000, and that shocks you, right? But then they negotiate it down.
Yeah,
But
the sticker
basically,
shock.
think of think of Joe Biden as being the car, and then the $70,000 price on Joe Biden shocks you. That's the Overton window. I mean, like that's the laptop. Then more stuff starts to come out, and the price of Joe Biden drops. So then you buy Joe Biden.
Okay, so
Yo,
now bring it back a little bit more literal. I just
I
turned.
can't see.
I know
Okay.
the stream can see me. I just turned off the video so that you don't lag out to help your internet.
Okay.
The stream can still see me. So basically, you're setting up a scenario of ancient Rome where the elite are just allowed to have their child sex slaves, and the
Kind
rest
of
of
like that. Yeah.
the rest of the world isn't. And we're now so desensitized, and everybody's been hearing Q scream about pedophiles in government, pedophiles in government, pedophiles in government, and now it's just the way that it is. And you
Yeah.
think things are going to continue on as they are, and the U.S. government's going to be
I
is going to
think.
be king
I
for a
think.
while longer, or what?
I think this. It's like this entire Q movement. I think was a kill shot movement. If that makes sense.
No, I don't understand who's being shot and who's being killed. So lay that
Okay.
on us.
It's okay. Let's go back to the 90s. Okay, you had these incidents of Waco, Ruby Ridge, and then that really what that did is that it really emboldened a lot of right wing groups, right? Then the Timothy McVeigh bombing occurs, and the right wing movement goes away for a while, or they go into, or they're more subliminal about it.
Okay.
But now they're starting to come back up, and with these Q people, what I'm saying is, and I'm not like endorsing it, but there might need to be a false flag, like the way you saw with Timothy McVeigh, to make these people go back into the shadows, if that makes sense.
Well, I'd like to know what kind of false flag you're predicting.
I'm not like nothing serious like Oklahoma City, but it's gonna be something bad, and they're gonna blame a Q person, and then these people are gonna have no choice but to go back into the shadows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they tried. They tried to blame those kidnapping attempts on the mayor on Q people, and then it turned out they were all leftists. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we've got some false flags on our way for sure.
That, and I just think that this Q movement needs to die out before it gets uncontrolled. uncontrollable because what you see is that the QAnon person or whoever
Mhm.
still has very good control over the QAnon base, but the movement is starting to spread like wildfire, and
Yeah, it's
it's not.
international even.
Yeah, I saw this story. I think it was in Colorado, where I'm from.
Mm.
This woman was a recently converted Q-tard, right? Like she
Okay.
just got entrenched into the movement,
Yeah.
and she kidnapped these two kids because she thought that they were part of some kind of child sex sting,
Oh,
but
good
they
lord.
really weren't. Yeah,
Oh, good lord.
so she kidnapped them thinking she was going to save them, but
Right.
wasn't the case.
Oh
Then
my.
that in 2018, when it was very new, you had this guy that killed a mob boss, and he said that Q instructed him to kill the mafia boss.
Hmm.
And what you're seeing also, man, is that with many of these Q people, they've cut off their family, they've cut off their friends. It's become a full blown cult, and it's not good, man.
Yeah, I'd say that there's a lot of not good things among that. A lot of good people in the following as well, but I don't know what they're gonna do when they realize that nobody's going to jail. And
I mean, yeah, it's like especially with some of this some of these more religious ones, these more religious Q-tards, I feel like they're gonna be the ones to start violence if there is not a kill shot on this Q movement, man. Like it's getting completely out of hand.
well, I think they'll all realize it's fake if Trump doesn't win. And I mean, that's what the
That is,
polls are looking like now. I don't know. I don't think we didn't
don't
even
trust the polls. Don't
true.
trust the polls.
But I'm
Don't
not
trust the
just
polls.
trusting the polls, and we're already over our limit. So we got 3 minutes max to keep going here. But we
All
didn't
right.
even talk
Yeah.
about the fact that 60 million people have already
Have
voted.
voted.
Like that is insanity compared
And
to
that's
other.
probably mainly Democrats as well. They tend to vote sooner than Republicans do.
That's exactly right. So if you look at what I'm looking at right now, guys, this is
I can't.
59 million. I can throw this share back up. We're just about to end.
All
So
right.
if you break up, I'll just start. I'll start the goodbye and wind it. We've got 2 minutes
Sure.
max. Um,
Sure.
59,477,000 people have already voted. Like I don't know if these are real numbers. I don't know if these people really
Look,
have
look
voted.
at the mail-in ballots. It's a 40 million mail-in ballots, dude.
Right. So these are votes that have legally been counted, but I don't know if this is shenanigans of people lying or not. Like, look at the subliminal advertising. Even every state is darker blue the more mail in ballots they have, and there's not even a red on here. Like,
Look at Texas, dude. Like they're
I
blatantly
know.
fuck, dude. If Texas turns blue, man,
Blue.
that is fucking be insane.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If Texas turns blue, like the electoral college is all but
Yeah.
decided. So we're at 43.1% of the total votes in 2016 have already been cast, and we are still 206 hours and 21 minutes away from the first poll closing.
Wait, 43%. That is a lot. What the fuck?
It's insane. Not 43% of the early votes before. 43% of the total votes before. Remember, Trump had 62 million votes, and we're at 59 million. This is absolute insanity. So
Jesus Christ.
we are running out of time. I don't want this to get longer than an hour and 10. We have one last chance to talk to you guys before Election Day, and that
All
will
right.
be on next Monday, and that'll be Hold Your Breath. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We are a very small channel, so if you give us a comment in the in the comment section below, we will read it, we will see it, and we will reply. Guys, keep rocking and keep crushing, and don't worry about this political stuff because the truth is not tied up in this. Anything you want
No.
to add, Sash, before we sign up?
Just commentary, guys. We're not speaking facts. We're just giving our 2 cents. So don't take us literally, okay?
And there's no black pill. The despair is
There is
not
no.
coming. You have individual agency. You get to define
Yes, you
who
do.
you are and what you will become. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your loved ones, and who cares what these idiots in DC do?
Exactly.
All right, guys.
Exactly.
Have a wonderful morning. I will see you all. Take care.
Okay, guys.